Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good evening, everyone. We are studying dependent origination. Second link, dependent on ignorance, Saṅkhāra arises. So according to Vibhanga Sutta, second Sutta of Saṅkhāra Nikaya, Nidana Sanyutta, so the Buddha said that Saṅkhāra means bodily activities, verbal activities, and mental activities. So that is called Saṅkhāra. According to another Sutta, Parivimāsaka Sutta, so the Buddha mentioned three types of Saṅkhāra with the different names. Last week we talked about two types of Saṅkhāra. So if we do a good deed, which is based on ignorance and craving, especially craving, ignorance and craving, so that is called meritorious volitional formations. So for that reason, arising formula of dependent originations is called Vota. Vota means going around samsara. In other words, struggling with the suffering. We can say that. So if we do wholesome deed, dependent on ignorance and craving, that is called meritorious activities, meritorious volitional formations. It is good, but you cannot end samsara suffering. You will go to a good destinations. For that reason, the Buddha said that a person immersed in ignorance generate a meritorious volitional formations. Volitional formation means you do wholesome deed with your body, speech, and mind, but motivated by ignorance and craving. That is called meritorious volitional formations. So it will create another form of existence, a good existence, a rebirth in a good existence. So consciousness fails on to the meritorious existences. So according to Abhidhamma, Abhidhamma said that the volition, so meritorious volitional formation means the volitions in the 8 great wholesome cittas, in the 5 wholesome 5 material jhana cittas. So these are called meritorious volitional formations. For those who didn't learn Abhidhamma, don't worry, you don't need to know it. But if you know that, if we do meritorious deed motivated by ignorance and craving, that is called meritorious volitional formations. But in terms of orderly affair, mundane level, it is good. So you will have a rebirth in human realm, heavenly realms, and even Rupa Brahma realms. So according to Abhidhamma. Another one is demeritorious volitional formations, apuññābhi saṅkhāra. In other words, we call it akusala. Akusala. The Buddha said that if someone do demeritorious volitional formations, so consciousness fails on to the demeritorious. So that means if we do unwholesome activities, we will go to unwholesome destinations. So that is a second type of volitional formations. According to Abhidhamma, so that is 12 unwholesome cittas. So 12 unwholesome cittas are called demeritorious volitional formations. So actually Abhidhamma trying to define what. Sometimes a little bit different from Sutta Pitaka. So today we will study the third one. The third one is imperturbable volitional formations. Anicca-bhi saṅkhāra. It is unshakable volitional formations. So the Buddha said that if he generates an imperturbable volitional formation, consciousness fails on to the imperturbable. So actually is quite, technical. So let's look at what the Abhidhamma said. So according to Abhidhamma, so imperturbable volitional formation means you do something motivated by volitions. So something means the four wholesome immaterial jhana cittas, arupa jhana citta, wholesome arupa jhana cittas. So that is called imperturbable volitional formations, anicca-bhi saṅkhāra. So the reason is it is called imperturbable. The reason is it is far away from ignorance or hindrances. So because it is far away from ignorance, because of that your state of mind, especially your concentration, is very stable, unshakable. So that is called imperturbable, according to Abhidhamma. Even you attain arupa jhana, if that jhana state is motivated by ignorance and craving, so that is called volitional formation, saṅkhāra. Then you meditate, you attain arupa jhana, but your meditative state is not motivated by craving or ignorance, it may not be called saṅkhāra. So later I will explain, using Abhidhamma concept. So this is called another volitional formations. I think to explain this volitional formation, I think I want to use I want to quote from one of the sutta from Majjhima Nikāya. It's a beautiful one. I think if you want to know about the last one, I think you should read Majjhima Nikāya, sutta number 105 and 106. So if you read two suttas, you will understand imperturbable volitional formation better. So according to this sutta, according to two suttas, the imperturbable volitional formation means the fourth jhana, the fourth rūpa jhana, and the first two arupa jhana, according to the suttas. So it is a little bit different from Abhidhamma interpretation. So anyway, Abhidhamma may have some reasons to interpret in such a way. But of course, it's not wrong. The reason is we call it anicca, imperturbable, unshakable. The reason is the moment you attain arupa jhana, you don't have any hindrances. For that reason, your mind is very stable, unshakable, because of not having hindrances. So actually, it is very, the state of arupa jhana is very high and also very profound. But even at that state, sometimes there is a craving or clinging. And then I will use one line from Anicca Sappaya Sutta from Majjhima Nikaya. Anicca Sappaya Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 106. So in this sutta, the Buddha talk about different type of meditative states. So according to this sutta, it seems that the fourth rupa jhana, and the first two arupa jhanas are called anicca. So the reason is, so in this sutta, the Buddha give different names, separate names for the last two arupa jhana, akinchinya yetana and nivasinya nasinya yetana. The base of nothingness and the base of neither perception or non-perception. So this is the last two arupa jhana. So the Buddha gave separate name for these two higher jhana. For that reason, according to this sutta, anicca means the first two arupa jhana. But here, the Buddha taught to Venerable Ananda. So if someone attains the fourth arupa jhana, the base of neither perception or non-perception, actually it is very high and very profound. At that moment, there's no hindrances. There's no hindrances. So by that time, the mind is very pure. So Venerable Ananda asked, why such person will not attain Nibbana? And the Buddha gave a very profound answer. Then I will read out a little bit, just a little bit, right? Then, if someone attain the fourth arupa jhana, so actually he will have equanimity, upekha, regarding with the perception or feeling, etc. And the Buddha said that he delights in that equanimity and awakens it and remain holding to it. As he does so, his consciousness, viññāṇa, his consciousness. Actually, now we are going to study about viññāṇa, consciousness. So the consciousness became dependent on it, and cling to it. A bhikkhu with the clinging, Ananda, does not attain Nibbana. So according to Nupada Sutta from Majjhima Nikaya, so Venerable Sariputta became Arahant, so by achieving, the jhanas, one after another, up to from Rupa jhana to Arupa jhana. Then he attained the first jhana, and he contemplate the nature of jhana, the nature of jhana factors, how they arise, how they exist, and how they disappear. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. So then he attained second jhana and contemplate the nature of jhana factors. intense or impermanence. They arise, they exist for a while, and they disappear. So up to arupa jhana, he trying to contemplate. He practice jhana first, then he contemplate the nature of impermanence regarding with the jhana factor. So in this way, he became Arahant. After come out from the fourth arupa jhana, then he became Arahant. So Anupada Sutta, I think Sutta number 1019, right? So here, if someone attained arupa jhana, the higher one, the based on neither perception nor non-perception, the mind is free from hindrances, defilements, but he cling to equanimity, clinging or craving to equanimity. Because of that, his consciousness, the Buddha said that his consciousness became dependent on equanimity. So Nibbana can be attained without depending on anything. So that means if that meditator does not cling to equanimity or state of his meditative bliss, he will attain Nibbana because of clinging or craving toward equanimity. Actually, the moment he attains equanimity, at that state, so the mind is very stable and very blissful. So he cling to that. So that means, according to this Sutta, even attaining arupa jhana, the most highest meditative jhana, right? So if those jhanas are motivated by clinging, craving, and ignorance, it is called Saṅkhāra. And the Buddha and Arahants also, they achieve those jhanas, but not motivated by ignorance and craving. For that reason, it's not called Saṅkhāra. We call Saṅkhāra, the reason is dependent on, if arises, dependent on ignorance and craving. So this is a three type of Saṅkhāra. Okay? Question? I want you to read Majjhima Nikāya, Sutta number 105 and 106, together with the note. I think you will appreciate better. I think it's very profound teachings. So for those who are meditating, I think you can appreciate better. Meditating for those who have a very high achievement in meditation, so you can appreciate these two sutta better. Very profound, very profound. Okay, so this is a three type of Saṅkhāra. In Abhidhamma, so we have a 21 wholesome citta, 21 wholesome cittas. Now we talk about 8 great wholesome cittas and 5 wholesome, 5 material citta, and 4 immaterial wholesome citta. Altogether, 17. We still have another 4. So that is called 4 Magga cittas. According to Abhidhamma, 4 Magga cittas are called kusala, wholesome. But here, so we don't have to take 4 Magga cittas as a Saṅkhāra. So the reason is Saṅkhāra have to be done dependent on ignorance and craving. But here, Magga citta will arise because of wisdom. So the moment Magga citta arises in our mind, so the wisdom or panya is predominant. For that reason, so by that time, there's no ignorance in our mind. There's no craving in our mind. For that reason, even though 4 Magga cittas are called kusala or wholesome citta, so these 4 are not called sankhāra, not counted as the sankhāra. So the reason is, if 4 Magga cittas arises in our mind, so there is no ignorance, no craving. So wisdom is predominant. For that reason, 4 Magga cittas cannot be called sankhāra. For those who didn't learn Abhidhamma, don't worry, even though you do not understand it, it's okay, right? It's okay. So as long as you understand suttas, enough, I think, more than enough. So dependent originations of arising formula explains how the suffering is originated. But Magga citta destroying the original suffering. Magga citta destroying original suffering. So they are opposite. For that reason, Magga citta, even though it is kusala, we cannot call sankhāra. According to Abhidhamma, only 70 mundane kusala citta are called sankhāra. I think the way Sutta said is very clear, right? Very clear. So if you do something, if you are bodily, verbal, and mental activities, so if they are motivated by ignorance and craving, that is called sankhāra. Quite clear. Question? Okay. So now I want to explain KIRIYA citta, functional consciousness. For those who learn Abhidhamma, I think it's quite clear. But for those who didn't learn Abhidhamma, I think I want you to listen. You can understand. So if you understand this, how to say what I have taught right now. Normally, our bodily activities, mental and verbal activities, are motivated by ignorance and craving. That's called sankhāra. But Arahant, the Buddha, and Pacceka Buddha, they also have bodily activities, verbal and mental activities. Can we call them sankhāra? No. The reason is, all their activities are not motivated by ignorance and craving. So the Buddha stay, after attaining enlightenment, the Buddha go many places, preach for 45 years. There is no ignorance and there is no craving. So all his activities cannot be called sankhāra. The reason is no ignorance, no craving. The mental states that cause the activities of the Buddha and Arahants are called KIRIYA citta. Abhidhamma give a technical term. It's called KIRIYA citta, functional consciousness. Functional consciousness. They also actually, so we do not call actions as a karma. We call KIRIYA. Actually, the karma, the word Pali and karma and the word KIRIYA, they are the same. But Abhidhamma trying to differentiate the activities of normal people and the action of the Buddha and Arahant. So give a technical term, it's called KIRIYA citta. It's very beautiful. So of course the Buddha, Arahant, Pacceka Buddha, they have a lot of activities. They speak, they act with their body, and they think. But in their activities, so there is no ignorance and there is no craving, no clinging. For that reason, it is called KIRIYA citta, functional consciousness. As the Arahants, Pacceka Buddha, and the Buddha do not have ignorance and craving. For that reason, so their activities, their actions are not considered as a karma or karma violation. Karma violation. So here, Saṅkhāra, because of Saṅkhāra, consciousness arises. In next link, we have to learn consciousness. So if we talk about 2 life or 3 life, consciousness can be interpreted as a rebirth linking consciousness. So normally, normal people, when we are doing with our body, speech and mind, we do with the ignorance and craving. For that reason, it's called Saṅkhāra, volitional formations. So because of that kind Saṅkhāra, and we will have a new rebirth or rebirth linking consciousness. But as the Arahant and the Buddha, even though they do a lot of activities with their body, speech and mind, without ignorance and without craving, that is called, so their activities are not called Saṅkhāra. So we call it KIRIYA, functional activities. In some suttas, the Buddha used the word karma and kriya together. So all the Buddhas are karmawadi, all the Buddhas are kriyawadi. The same, no? But Abhidhamma make it different. So anyway, it's very beautiful, very beautiful. So we can use this one for reference. With the remainder fading away and cessation of ignorance comes cessation of volitional formations. So if you do not have ignorance and craving, so there will be no volitional formations. According to Abhidhamma, so we have a 20 type of functional cittas. So among them, 5 door advancing consciousness that perform the opening of the door in the 5 doors. A mind door advancing consciousness that open the mind door. So when you see something, so 5 door advancing cittas open the door. If it doesn't open the door, we're not coming. How to say the object cannot come into your mind. So other than these 2 cittas, 5 door advancing consciousness and mind door advancing consciousness, so the rest arises in the minds of Arahant and the Buddha. In our mind, only 2 functional citta arises. That is 5 door advancing and mind door advancing. When you think with your mind door advancing citta open. And when you see something, when you hear something, when you touch, smell, and taste, and 5 door advancing consciousness open. Open means then only and those objects outside can come into your mind. You can see it, you can hear it because of 5 door advancing. So as a Buddhojana, at a trainees, 5 door advancing and mind door advancing, only 2 cittas, 2 functional citta can arise in our mind. So the rest of the 80 functional cittas can arise only in the minds of Arahants, Pacceka Buddha and the Buddha. So that is according to Abhidhamma. The main reason is the absence of ignorance and craving. The main reason, absence of ignorance and craving. How about in the worldlings, Buddhojana, and the trainees, Sikha? I think you all know that we have 8 noble individuals, right? We have 8 noble individuals. So among them, other than Arahant, so the rest are called trainees because they still need to train. They still need trainings. For that reason, they are called trainees. So if Buddhojana and also trainees. So if they perform some activities without ignorance and craving, is it possible to call functional consciousness? Because the main reason is, if we do something with our body, with our speech and mind, without ignorance and craving, possible to call functional consciousness? But of course, technically, according to Abhidhamma, cannot call. But I will say that according to Sutta Pitaka, we can call it. We can call it. The reason is one of the Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya called Uposatha Sutta. So Visakha came to temple on new moon and full moon day, and the Buddha saw her and asked, why you come to temple? And Visakha said that she came here to observe Uposatha, to observe Sila. So the Buddha, for that reason, the Buddha suggested Visakha that Arahants do not commit killing the whole life. Arahants do not steal the whole life. So imitating, actually is eight precept. So the Buddha said, imitating, you should observe 8 precepts on new moon and full moon day. The Buddha used anukarami, imitating Arahant. So actually, as a Arahant, he will not commit any killing, stealing, sexuality like this, right? So he refrained from all these ones for the whole life. So imitating Arahant, you should observe a precept. So actually the Buddha used the word anukarami, imitating Arahant. So here, sometimes we do with our body, we speak, we think, but in our activities, in our actions, there is no craving, there is no ignorance. The wisdom is fully activated. So by that time, there is no ignorance and no craving. I think we can call it functional consciousness, functional activities, or kriya citta at that time. So here I put 2 criteria. If we are mindful, that means sati. If we are clearly comprehending in our activities, sometimes we speak, we are very mindful, and we clearly comprehend what we are doing. Sometimes we speak, we are very mindful, and we clearly comprehend what we are talking. Sometimes we think very mindfully and clearly comprehending. So by that time, there's no ignorance. There's no place, no chance for ignorance and craving to arise. If there is no ignorance and craving, karma will not be formed. No karma formation, saṅkhāra. There will be no saṅkhāra because there's no ignorance and craving. So according to dependent originations, so dependent on ignorance, saṅkhāra arises. Now we are talking, we are doing something, we are thinking something, fully aware, fully mindful. There is no ignorance in our mind, so there is no craving in our mind. I think we can call our activities as a functional consciousness. Even we cannot call functional consciousness, then I give the name pseudo-functional consciousness. pseudo-functional consciousness. It look like functional consciousness. It look like Kriya Cheda. But of course, according to Abhidhamma, we cannot call it technically. But if we refer to the many suttas, actually there are many suttas as well. And then later when we are talking about meditation, I will point out that one. For the time being, Saṅkhāra hear me. If we do something, if we speak, if we think, motivated by ignorance and craving, that's called Saṅkhāra. Sometimes you come to class, so you do dana, you observe sila, and you meditate. So there's no ignorance in your mind, no craving in your mind, fully mindful and clearly comprehending. So I think we cannot call it Saṅkhāra. But of course, if not the same, we can call it pseudo-functional consciousness, pseudo-Kriya Cheda. Just like a Kriya Cheda. There's no ignorance, no moha in our mind. Sati and panya predominant. I think we can call it Kriya Cheda. Do you agree? You agree, right? Which one? Real functional consciousness or pseudo? Pseudo. Okay. Pseudo functional consciousness. Not bad. Okay, not bad. Eh? Now, let's finish about second link. Depending on ignorance and Saṅkhāra arises. Saṅkhāra means, actually just simply take note, Saṅkhāra means our bodily, verbal and mental activities, so which is motivated by ignorance and craving. Next link is a consciousness, viññāṇa. So I think all the translation they use consciousness. So earlier I used rebirth linking consciousness, but now I just use it simply a consciousness. With the volitional formations as condition, consciousness come to be. So because of volitional formations, consciousness arises. So in Mahātanakaya Sutta, actually the Sutta I already sent out yesterday. So in that Sutta, the Buddha taught to the monks, bhikkhus, consciousness is reckoned by the particular condition depending upon which it arises. So here I want to explain. Consciousness can be given different name according to conditions. So the Buddha himself said that consciousness is reckoned by the particular condition depending upon which it arises. Giving a simile, a very beautiful simile. Sometimes if we use fire with the log, it's called log fire. And we use grass, then grass fire. Sometimes we use wood fire. Actually, the name fire is the same, but depending on condition, different name. Here also, consciousness also can be reckoned a different name according to particular condition. So in the same Sutta, the Buddha said that when consciousness arises, depending on eye and forms, it is reckoned as a eye consciousness. I have an eye, something to see, the form, visible form, then consciousness arises. That is called eye consciousness. Another we can call it form consciousness. We can call it, but the Sutta said that eye consciousness. When consciousness arises, depending on the ear and sounds, it is reckoned as a ear consciousness. For those learn Abhidhamma, it's quite clear, no? Ear consciousness. Then we have a nose consciousness. We have a nose and odor, then contact. So there is a consciousness. It's called nose consciousness. Next one is tongue consciousness. So we have a tongue. Then something to eat, flavor. So that is called tongue consciousness. And next one is a body consciousness. We have it our body, something to touch. So because of these two, a consciousness arises. So that is called body consciousness. The last one is mind consciousness. We have our mind and the object to think. So because of these two, a consciousness arises. That is called mind consciousness. So here, the name consciousness or viññāṇa is given different name according to a particular conditions. So here also, I think if we are learning 2 or 3 like process, we can call it Republican consciousness. So this is the sutta. Actually, many places we can find Chachaka sutta, right? Chachaka sutta. So the Buddha have given 6 set of 6. So we learn existence. So we have 2 suttas under existence. Existence in Pali is called bhava. In Kotta Nikaya, chapter 3, sutta number 76 and 77. So I have already given to you earlier last week. So now here we are talking about a consciousness in a new life. Then Venerable Ananda asked the Buddha, Bhante, it is said existence. Bhava. In what way, Bhante, is their existence? So Venerable Ananda want to know what is existence. The Buddha answer, if Ananda, there were no karma or no Saṅkhāra, same thing, right? Ripening in the sensory realm, sense-sphere realm, would sense-sphere existence be descent? So that means the Buddha said that if there is no karma ripening in the sensory realm, there will be no sensory existence. Then Venerable Ananda said that no, Bhante, if there is no Saṅkhāra, there will be no existence. Then the Buddha said that this is the point I want to point out. Now we are learning the third link or dependent originations, viññāṇa, consciousness. So this is a very good sutta to learn about this. Because some teachers advocate or promoting that dependent originations talk about just this life, not 2 or 3 lives. It talk about our mind. So actually, if you say so, if you accept such idea, I think it's very. So as the Buddha said that, he's accusing the Buddha. Actually, we have many suttas that talk about previous life, past life, and future life. So this is one of the sutta to talk about this. The Buddha said that, thus Ananda, for beings hindered by ignorance, avijja, and fettered by craving, tanha. So for that reason, I always say two together, ignorance and craving. So later, I think it will be clear to you. For the time being, we say, dependent on ignorance, sankhara arises. So actually, at the end of the dependent originations, I will explain why we say two together. Hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving, karma is the feed. Karma kitten. Consciousness, the seed. Craving, the moisture. For the consciousness to be established in inferior realm. So this is a very famous quote in the, in the cittas. If we look at this one, quite clear. It's not, it just talk about only this life. It talk about many lifetime. So here the Buddha is talking existence, actual existence, human existence, heavenly existence, Brahma existence. Not just lifetime. But of course, it's not wrong to say, dependent origination talk about our mind process. So for that reason, I always say that dependent origination is a type of mind process. It talk about our mind. How we perform good and bad deed, how we have a rebirth in new life, how we will have a future rebirth, like this. But here, if you look at this one, so it's very clear that dependent viññāṇa here, consciousness, is the first consciousness in a new life. So karma is the feed. So that means to have a rebirth in the new life, you must have a karma, good and bad karma. So that means karma here means sankhāra. According to Abhidhamma, 70 mundane wholesome citta. We have a 12 unwholesome citta. So we have 8 great wholesome citta. We have a 5 material citta. And we have 4 immaterial wholesome citta. 70 mundane wholesome citta. But according to Suttas, karma here means all your actions or all your activities performed and motivated by ignorance and craving. That is called karma. So, if you want to have a rebirth, you must have a karma. Karma is just like a field. Without field, you cannot plant a seed. The consciousness is just like the seed. You plant the seed on the ground, or on the field. So that means the Buddha gave a very beautiful simile. Our karma, whether good or bad, that's similar to the field. So the consciousness is like a seed. So you plant a seed on the ground, on the field, right? On the field. But here, craving like the moisture. Even though you plant a seed on the field, if there is no moisture, so that seed cannot grow. Just like that, without craving, you cannot have a rebirth, the new existence. So here, craving or clinging is just like a moisture. So without moisture, you cannot grow a seed in the field. So just like that, so for that reason, Abhidhamma said that the first citta, how to say that? We call it bhavanikantika tanha. Craving for existence. Craving for existence. Actually, that is in accordance with the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the first sermon. So because of craving for existence. We was born. We was born. So craving is like a moisture. So the karma is the feed, consciousness is the seed, craving is the moisture. Because of these three, a tree grows. Because of these three, then our life grows in the new existence. So the Buddha said that for the consciousness to be established in the inferior realm, so there is a two factors. You must have a karma, good or it can be good and bad, and you must have consciousness. Consciousness here we call it rebirth linking consciousness. What we call it rebirth linking consciousness. And also we must have another criteria. It's called craving, right? Craving. So that craving is handled by ignorance. Actually, craving and ignorance, they are the same. So they come together. They come together. So this is if we learn this soda, it's quite clear that, so dependent origination also talk about many life, the mind process in many life. But of course, if we just learn Chachaka Soda, it's quite clear that it talk about in this life. So depending on I, we have I and something to see. So because of these two, I consciousness arises. A meeting of the three is called contact. So because of contact, feeling arises. Because of feeling, craving arises. So that talk about is simple dependent originations. It can arise anytime, even in this life. So actually, for that reason, I earlier said that consciousness can be given different name according to context, particular conditions, right? So if you see something, the I consciousness arises. So that consciousness is called I consciousness. Then you think something with your mind, a consciousness arises. That's called mind consciousness. But here, because of karma, Saṅkhāra, consciousness arises. Consciousness grows. That's, we can call it rebirth linking consciousness. So the reason is it arises in this life for the first time. Then the Buddha said that in this way, there is the production of renewed existence in the future. Punabhava Bhinipati. In this way, there is the production of new existence in the future. So this is the process how we have a new existence. So we do wholesome and unwholesome karma, not only wholesome and unwholesome, even imperturbable, right? Imperturbable. Even the jhana. For that reason, even though somebody became nāma-rūpa, he or she still have attachment to the jhana, clinging to the jhana. So the consciousness has footing, to the jhana. So that means craving toward the jhana. Because of that, attain have a new rebirth in the arupa realm. So that is how nāma-rūpa go to Brahma realm. Because of clinging to their jhana, clinging or craving toward their jhana. So actually in that sort of very clear, I like that line, So even though he or she doesn't have any hindrances in this mind, the mind is very pure, but attached to equanimity, upekha, that upekha as a jhana factor is very blissful and also very profound. Attached to that. So as long as you have attachment if the consciousness has footing here means depending on one object, you cannot attain Nibbana. But Nibbana doesn't have any footing. Only you do not cling to anything, then you attain Nibbana. So that is it. Even the one who attain Rupa and Arupa jhana, they still have a new existence because of this, right? Because of this. So in this sutta, the Buddha talk about the inferior realm, hinadhatu. So that is a sense sphere realm. So we have, according to Abhidhamma, we have 11 sense sphere realms. The middling realm, Majjhima Dhatu, is called the 5 material realm, Rupa Bhava or Rupa Loka. Then the last one is the superior realm. It is immaterial realm. So we have a 31 planes of existence. So the first one, the inferior one, is sense sphere realm. The middling realm is we have a 65 material realm. The superior realm is we have 4 immaterial sphere realms. So altogether 31 planes of existence. So as long as you still have craving, as long as actually because you have ignorance, because of that you have craving. Because of craving you create karma. Because of karma, then you have a consciousness. So consciousness, if we are talking about consciousness in new life, that is called rebirth linking consciousness. Patisandhi viññāṇa or patisandhi citta. The first consciousness in a new existence is called rebirth linking consciousness or relinking consciousness. It is so called because it links together new life with the previous one. It's called patisandhi. It links previous life and new life. Actually, it is just one consciousness. Actually, we give the name. It is a type of consciousness. We give the name just for metaphor. It links previous life and this life. Rebirth linking consciousness. Question? No question. Okay. I hope you understand. We are talking about third link, consciousness. Consciousness in a new existence. This is from Mahanidana Sutta. So actually now I want to highlight Dipana origination. Sometimes talk about many lifetime. This is another Sutta, Mahanidana Sutta. So this one also I have already sent out to you. Very, I think, important Sutta for you. I think I want you to read. I cannot touch all the subject. We cannot cover all. We cannot finish. Because in previous time, it took 4 years to finish this topic. So I think now I don't make, we don't need to do that. So I think within maybe 1.5 years, or even this year, we can cover. We're trying to cover. So on your part, you have to read, before you come to class. Then also, after you learn from the class, I think it's clearer for you. You can read. Mahanidana Sutta said that, so this one also, the Buddha taught to Venerable Ananda. Venerable Ananda. If consciousness were not to descend into the mother's womb, would mentality and materiality take shape in the womb? Womb, right? Womb. Womb, sorry, womb. In the womb. So I think if you look at this one, quite clear. Talk about consciousness, the first time. Consciousness established in the mother's womb. Mother's womb. So I think it's quite clear. If consciousness, viññāṇa, were not to descend, actually here, descend means just metaphor. Consciousness will not go like this, just metaphor, right? The consciousness descend into mother's womb. What materiality and mentality and materiality is called nāma-rūpa. Actually, I will use mind and body. Sometimes, actually, bhikkhu body use sometimes name and form. Name and form. I think if we study the sutta, it will be quite clear. You can give any name, but as long as you understand. Of course, there are a lot of variations. So some people, most scholars, they use the word name and form. So that means if there is no consciousness, if consciousness does not go to mother's womb, so there will be no mind and body. Mind and body. Certainly not Venerable Son. So that means if consciousness does not go to mother's womb, there will be no mind and body. No mental and material phenomena. Another one, actually this is a Sectarian sutta that we already learned. So we talk about three types of wrong views in that sutta, and also we talk about dependent arising formula, dependent origination is a second noble truth, and cessation formula of dependent origination is the third noble truth. So we can learn from this sutta. In this sutta, the Buddha said that independent on 6 elements, the descent of effulgent embryo occurs. Independent on the 6 elements. So here, 6 elements mean the earth, the water, the fire, the air, the space, the consciousness. Here, the consciousness is among them. Because of independent on 6 elements, the descent of effulgent embryo occurs. When the descent takes place, there is mind and body, nāma-rūpa. So here, not only consciousness, but also other material phenomena. It is in accordance with the Abhidhamma. In accordance with the Abhidhamma. So according to Abhidhamma, then I think I will explain it later. So according to this sutta, not only consciousness, independent on 6 elements, mind and body arises as a embryo. So I think that talk about here the earth, the water, the fire, the air, that talk about the material phenomena, rūpa, right? But here, the space also considered as the rūpa according to Abhidhamma. The consciousness is nothing but the consciousness that we are learning now. So here, depending on 6 elements, a future embryo occur. Right? Embryo occur. So when the descent take place, there is mind and body. So in this sutta also, it's quite clear that consciousness here means rebirth linking consciousness. Rebirth linking consciousness. The first consciousness arises in the new life. So that consciousness will establish depending on karma, because of good and bad karma in the previous life. Then the seed, the consciousness will establish on that, the grow. So there will be mind and body. So this is another sutta Dutiya Chetana Sutta. When consciousness is established and has come to growth, the consciousness in the new life, there is a distance of mind and body. So yeah, mental and material phenomena. Dutiya Chetana Sutta. Chetana Sutta. So that means the consciousness is a rebirth consciousness. So because of consciousness established in the new life, because of that, mind and body arises. Without consciousness, mind and body will not arise. So for that reason, later I will give you some reference. The consciousness of Arahant and consciousness of the Buddha and Pichika Buddha, their consciousness does not establish anywhere. For that reason, no nāma-rūpa. So actually the Sutta gives the simile of fire. So you are lighting a candle in the shrine hall. The light of the candle arises because of wick and wax, right? Sorry? Wax. So if there's no wick and wax, then there will be no light, no fire. Where the fire go? Can you say? You cannot say. Fire arises because of conditions, because of wick and wax. So just like that, our consciousness arises because of previous conditions. So here, previous conditions is the karma or Saṅkhāra. Because of Saṅkhāra, consciousness arises. Then the consciousness establish or make a footing on the karma, then grow in the new life. That is how the Sutta explains, right? I think by looking at all these ones, so we can make a very solid final conclusion that dependent origination not only talk about present life mind process, it also talk about many life process. So I think later I will also highlight another factor as well. So I think by looking at all these one, I think we can learn consciousness, establish consciousness as a rebirth consciousness in the new life. Next link, mind and body. I will just use the mind and body for simple simplicity. Nāma-rūpa. Up to now is clear. I hope it volition, contact, and attention. So they arise together with rebutting and consciousness. So they arise together with the rebutting and consciousness. So that is mind, nama. Body here, rupami, denote the four great elements and the form derived from them. So according to Abhidhamma, so they are called material phenomena produced by karma. So they are the material phenomena produced by karma. To be more exactly, so there are 30 material phenomena. By that time, if someone have a rebirth in new life, bodily material phenomena, and heart-based material phenomena, and also sexual phenomena. If you are a girl, masculinity. If you are a boy, if you are a female, femininity. A male, masculinity, right? So actually, according to Abhidhamma, 3. Bodily, you have a body in the new life. So that body is tiny, so tiny that, so the commentary gives example of, suppose you take out your hair and you put in the cooking oil, then take it out, and you will see a small drop of cooking oil at the tip of a hair. That is, I think, even smaller than that amount. Here, the body here, the body of your body in the new existence, so tiny that I think even you may not be able to see with the powerful telescope. Then, at that point, you have heart base. And also another one is called sexual phenomena or sexual orientation. That is what the Abhidhamma said. According to Abhidhamma, sexual orientation based on, based in the at the mother's womb, at the conception, because of karma, right? Because of karma. So according to Abhidhamma, so here the material phenomena produced by karma. Because of karma, rebirth linking consciousness arises. It includes the physical body, its organs, faculties, functions that also arise simultaneous with the rebirth linking consciousness. According to Abhidhamma, consciousness, mental factor, and rupa, material phenomena produced by karma, they arise together. But of course, Abhidhamma gives very detailed and very exact calculation. So I think if you understand explanation from the Sutta, more than enough. So here, even though we say mind and body, so we have to understand in following ways. Number one, in the immaterial realms, so there is no body, just mind. In the non-percipient realm, asanya satta, there arise only the body, no mind. You have to understand in such a way. For that reason, in the immaterial realm, so the reason why I give this one is last week in my Abhidhamma class, one of the students asked me, is there any material form in the immaterial realms? So he thinks that the mind cannot arise without the matter. So I told him it's very weird, very special. In the immaterial realm, there's no matter, just the mind or consciousness. So the non-percipient realm, asanya satta, mindless being. So there's no mind, just the form. in the 6 sphere realms and in the 5 material realms, there arise both mind and body, both nāma-rūpa. So this is I think, so the Buddha trying to generalize divine originations. Question? Okay, please use microphone.
The Abhidhamma.
Okay.
But does language, the capability of speech, also include in Abhidhamma? Because nāma-rūpa, okay.
Okay.
Speech is born also. If I'm born in Africa, I speak African. If I'm born in Singapore, I speak Singapore English. If I'm born in UK or born in China, I speak Chinese. Speech also covered in Abhidhamma because it's also born. Because when the mother is having the baby in the womb, he also talk to the baby in their local language.
Okay.
If I'm a Chinese in China, I will talk to my, I don't have womb, but I'm sure my wife will talk to the baby in Chinese, in Mandarin. Does this also cover in Abhidhamma?
So that means in the mother's womb, at the conception?
Yes, the conception.
No, actually. Abhidhamma, according to Abhidhamma, as I said, that only 30 type of the material phenomena. One is connected with the body. Regarding with the body, there are 10 type of matters. So among them, there is no speech. And also other material phenomena, there's no speech. So actually speech arises, according to Abhidhamma, speech arises because of the mind. Because according to Abhidhamma, so we were born because of karma. So therefore we call it material phenomena produced by karma, nāma-rūpa. But of course, the moment you were born, also the consciousness of the mind also arises. So that mind, of course, will produce speech and also bodily intimation. We call it intimation, kaya viññāti. So here, according to Abhidhamma, and also I think according with the Sutta, because of ignorance, we do good and bad deed. That is called Saṅkhāra. Because of Saṅkhāra, consciousness arises. Consciousness here means rebirth-linking consciousness. Because of rebirth-linking consciousness, mind and body will arise. So I think the speech will be body, how to say, the body, and also produced by mind, I think. So I think it's very, very profound and then difficult to, I hope it's clear. Question? Okay.
Hi Bhante, can I just check, can there be no mind, no body?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, if there's no mind, no body, that means how do they attain the non-perspective stage in the highest jhana?
You mean the person with no body, right?
Yes. Can it be no mind, no body?
Oh, no, cannot.
Oh.
So here,
because I was confused with the
immaterial
highest
realm, there's only mind. Only mind exists, no body. But in the non-percipient realm, no mind, just the body. So actually, we created our own existence. They created their own existence. So according to Buddha's teachings, someone who attain the fourth jhana, the fourth arupa jhana, then he thinks that the mind is very dangerous, very bad. Because of the mind, we have greed, anger, jealousy, etc. Because of the mind. He thinks that if there's no mind, there will be no problem, no suffering, no problem. So because of his state of mind, that state of mind, so at the end of this life, he was born in the non-percipient realm. Because of the power of the mind. Not in normal mind, based on the jhana. In the same way, in the immaterial realm, there's no body, but they think otherwise. So they think that because of the body, we have a lot of diseases. Because of our body, we are fighting each other. If there's no body, there will be no such a problems. But he attained immaterial jhana. Because of that, when he died, he was born as an immaterial Brahma. Bodiless being, no body, just mind. It's very, very settled, and then only one way to is to experience ourselves. I listened one of the Dhamma talk by a famous meditation master in Myanmar. Actually, he was a robber earlier time. Robbing, and also because he afraid he will be detained. For that reason, he was he was tying with the rope. So there's no chance to to sit down. No? Then he tried to meditate. So based on that meditation, he was inspired. He kept on meditating. Then at the end, it is said that he became Arahant. Then he visit Brahmaloka. He used to visit, even though his body is here. Then he visit the Brahmaloka like this. So there are some people who can see and who can even visit. But of course, immaterial realm cannot visit because there's no material phenomena. You can just experience their existence. Okay.
Bhante, another question. Before the mind and body, we have consciousness, and then instead of the four elements, we have 5. The space. Is this space?
6 elements. 6 elements.
Is this space the body? Is this space the womb? The place for the body and the mind? Why 5 before, and now when you talk about the body, only 4?
Oh yeah. Sometimes the Buddha talk only 4 elements, great elements, especially for meditation. As I earlier said that according to Abhidhamma, we have 28 material matters, 28 matters. So space is one of them. So in some places, like here, so the Buddha just talk about only 4 great elements. And also the form or material phenomena derived from 4 great elements. So actually the space is, we call it nāma-rūpa. The material phenomena derived from 4 great elements. Actually the space does not exist. Because of 2 or 3 material phenomena, there is a space. Actually, the space is is not a real ultimate realities. We call it not paramatta. So based on based on rupa, it arises. But in earlier sutta, in Satiryan sutta, so the Buddha gives 6 elements. 6 elements. So including space. I think space is one of the material phenomena derived from 4 great elements. Because of 4 great elements, space arises. Space is not ultimate realities. Okay. Okay, question.
Bhante, I need to check with you. Quite confused here. Body is because of the karma. That's why we have the body. The mind, we have the feeling and all the 5 mental formation, which is feeling, perception, contact, and attention. You know, these are the function of the mind.
Yes.
So it could be influenced by external factor and internal factors as well.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
okay.
Yeah.
So you see, Buddha, he's a human being. He need a body. He need a mind. That's why he got enlightenment. So my question is that for people with, let's say, in a realm without mind or body, either one, would there be enlightenment or nirvana?
So that means without
let's say for
immaterial,
a formless realm or even a mindless realm, either way, can this being actually achieve enlightenment or nirvana?
Okay, good question. Yeah. For non-percipient realm, we call it asinya satta. So they cannot attain enlightenment. Because to attain enlightenment, mind have to walk a lot of mind process. At least you must have Magga and Phala. The path, citta, and the fruition cittas. So then only you can experience the bliss of Nibbana. But in the non-percipient realm, actually here again, according to Abhidhamma, the 8 noble people will not go to that realm. Only Puthojana, worldlings. So they will go to non-percipient realm. But for those who was born in the immaterial realm, they can attain enlightenment. But they cannot attain the first state of enlightenment, Sotapaddi Magga. So the reason is, for those who want to become Sotapanna, at least you must listen to the Dhamma. But in immaterial realm, there's no ear to listen. So for that reason, when you was born in the immaterial realm as a Puthojana, no way to attain enlightenment. Because to become Sotapanna, to become Arahant, at least you must attain the first stage of sainthood, Sotapaddi Magga. But in the human realm, you become Sotapanna, then you was born in the immaterial realm. So as you has the mind, you can practice. Then you can even become Arahant at that realm. So I think Abhidhamma explained very clearly. So that is I think that it covers your question. Okay, I think we still have some time because it's okay to continue because we start very late. So this is a circular life. Visuddhimagga mentioned Bhavacakka, circular life. Is in accordance with the sutta that we already learned. So normally we start with the rebirth linking consciousness, Patisandhi Citta. Then at the end we will die, a death consciousness. But in between, we have a lot of light continuance, a lot of bhavanga. If you didn't learn Abhidhamma, don't worry. If you do not understand, okay. But I just want to explain mind process. And also it's very important to understand teachings of the Buddha, quite different from other religions. So the Buddhism, I want to say the main difference between the Buddhism and other religions is anatta, non-self, no soul. That is the main difference between Buddhism and other religions. So the Buddha, he himself realized and experienced there's no soul, there's no self, there's no permanent entity. For that reason, he made known to the group of 5 monks in his second sermon, Anatta Lakkhana Sutta. So by learning Dipana originations, so you will realize the teachings of anatta, teachings of no soul. But I think today we cannot cover that topic. So next week, I will try to cover all using many suttas and also many suttas. For that reason, I think it's important to understand as a Buddhist that is according to Abhidhamma, we have the first rebirth linking consciousness for the first time, and the last cittas, the last consciousness is called death consciousness. But in between, so we have a light continuance, a lot of light continuance. So this is the first rebirth linking consciousness in our life, and there are a lot of light continuance. So light continuance, you can see that I show with the blue line, quite stable, it goes. So those consciousness arises because of our past karma. So they are not active. The best example of those consciousness, so they arises when we sleep, fully sleep. So when you have, when you are, awake, and also when you have a lot of dreams, your mind stay active. So here, like continually, passive process because of our past karma. Then this is the last state of our mind. Then I will give you another example. So this is a mind process. This mind process. So Abhidhamma is playing very beautifully. So this is the first. This one is rebirth linking consciousness in our life. Then there will be a lot of light continuance. So those cittas are passive, not active. They go, passively. Then, if you see if your senses come contact with outside object, with your eye, the form, ear, the sound, etc. So when your senses come contact with outside objects, we have a mind process. So here I show mind process with the red color. Red color means very active. So when we see something, our mind is very active. Sometimes angry, sometimes greedy, sometimes jealousy, sometimes compassionate, sometimes generous, etc. Very active. So that is called mind process. Then after mind process, we have light continue again. Then after that, when you hear something, mind process. Then bhavanga, light continue again, mind process again. Then light continue. At the end, you will die. This is how our mind is processing. It's called mind process. We call it mind process. The mind goes like this. So we have a rebellion consciousness, but we have a death consciousness at the end. In between, we have a lot of light continuing. And between light continuing, if our senses come contact with outside object, then active mind process will arise. But when you are fully asleep, even though somebody is calling you loud, you are not here. Because your ear is not working. Even though the sound vibrates your ear, because of light continue, right? So this is a mind process. So today I just want to show a little bit of our mind process, how our mind works. So this is a bigger chart. Rupa Kathin is a current chairman of Palita Society. He's a expert in Abhidhamma. Not only Abhidhamma, the Sutta as well. So he writes a Abhidhamma book as well as the teachings of the Buddha. This is from his lecture, Concentration and Mindfulness in Buddhist Psychology. So when we are learning jhana, I will use his explanations. Very beautiful. The way he explains, very beautiful. But here, this is the way our mind is working. So here, existence continuum. Actually, he used the word bhavanga. Bhikkhu Bodhi used like continuum. He used the word existence, the same. So this is a... Then after that, as I said, if our senses come in contact with the outside objects, then our bhavanga vibrate, shake. Then after that, it will stop. Bhavanga will stop. Then advardin. Advardin means, actually earlier we studied 5 advardin, 5 door advardin, and mind door advardin. Open the door. Then after that, sense consciousness. Here, sense consciousness means when you see with your eye consciousness. When you hear with your ear consciousness. For those who are interested in Abhidhamma, you still can catch up with our new Abhidhamma class taught by a very good teacher Sian Chin. So she is a very good knowledge of Abhidhamma. So she teach every Saturday 2:30 to 4:15. So I think you can attend Abhidhamma class. Very good. I think sometimes she might explain English and also Chinese, bilingual. It's good, better for you, right? Better for you. Then suppose unconsciousness, then receiving consciousness, receive the object that you see, that you hear, etc. Then investigate and determine. Then you fully enjoy the object. Sometimes angry, sometimes greedy, like this. Sometimes compassionate. These are called impulsion. Very active. Then after that, then drop. We have 2 retention. Then after that, it fall back to light continuum. It will go again like this. So this is the mind process in the 5 door. Mind process in the 5 door. Then I think if you listen this talk is very, informative and very good. But next one is how the mind, arises in your mind door. So in the mind door, then bhavanga and vibration and mind door advardin. So this one open the door, then you enjoy. At once, in the mind door, very quick. At once, you fully enjoy it. Enjoying it here means not only good things, but also bad things also. Pleasant, unpleasant, wherever. Then you fully enjoy it. Then retention, then after that forward to bhavanga. Here, I just want you to understand a little bit of Abhidhamma explanations. That is how the mind is working. Then I think if you look at my slide, you will see, dot. When arises, and pass away, arises, pass away. The mind goes in this way. No permanent entity. No permanent entity in Buddhism. That is what the Buddha said. I think in next suttas, it will be clear. Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 38, that I just sent out yesterday. So I think before you come to class, you read the Sutta. Okay? Then next week, I will close one day because I need to go back to Myanmar. So we will close one day. Then following week, we will open the class. Any question? Question? No question. Okay. Okay, let's finish our class. Yo varatam bhavaro manu jesu sakya muni bhagava gata kecho paragato bala vidiya samangi Dan sukatan saranatamu pemi ragavi ragama ninjama sokam dhammama saṅkhāra mapatikulan Madhurami mambagunan suvipatan Dhammami mansaranatamu pemi Yattājade nama apalamahu Chatusu sisu purisayukesu Atacha bogala dhammadasate Sangami mansaranatamu pemi Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, good night everyone.